Greetings, salutations, it's me, James, your BA Sensei, back with another Power Query tutorial. Well, today what we're going to be doing is we're going to take files in a folder. These files have different junk rows at the top. You see, this is the first one. This is the second one. And see all of that junk at the top. And this is the third one. So all of them have different levels of junk data at the top. I'm going to show you how to dynamically get rid of all those junk dimensions, pull it all together and combine them in one workbook. Well, let me show you how to do it. Alright, so all our data lies in this folder. There's the three files. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to data and say get data and say from file, from folder, because we're going to read the data from the folder. I select the folder name. So Power Query will tell me, there are three files in there. I go like, I can't do anything with that yet. I go transform the data. Once you're in here, you'll notice that each file is represented by a binary value inside of content. We need to take this binary and kind of open it up and make it a workbook. So I'm just going to pick any of these random files. We're going to start with one random one. Let's take the middle one, click on the binary. And now you can see it's opened the file. So now inside of the file, it's actually going to give me a little sneak peek of the table. See, so there's the table. Pretty cool. So you can see there are all the junk rows up until, all right, so we're going to work with this. So we're going to expand that table. All right, so we actually drilled in, we went in a little bit deeper. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new column. And I'm just going to say custom, that's cool. I'm going to say underscore. Now what this would do is going to add a column there, and it's going to add a record. A record is simply each row in this table. You can see it represents the data in that row. So if you look at where the junk rows end, that's going to tell me, it's kind of like the column headers. All right, that's cool. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to that. I'm going to convert this record into a list. Reason why is because I'm going to use a function, a list function, to look for specific values. So let's say record to list. We're going to convert that record into a list. So now you're going to see that record thing turn into an actual list. Now we can actually work with it. Now the formula I'm going to use, list formula, is the list contains any. So we're basically going to take a list and look if any of those values exist in a list. Okay, so what does that mean? So let's quickly see. We're going to go back there and we're going to say list contains any. Yeah, and we feed it the list because that is the list we created. And the criteria is simply the column names we want to check. So it's basically the first row where we will actually have header data. So I'm going to say I'm looking for shares. Obviously, the more criteria you put in there, the better. Value, recent. So that's the criteria we're going to give it. All right, I'm just going to close that up. We say, okay. So now what we're going to have is we're going to have a column that basically says, does this list contain those values? And you can see there we go. This is the only row that contains those values. This is excellent because now this could be kind of like a key for us to know where dynamically to cut off all the junk rows, because we know that that is the header. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to use a cool function called table skip. And this is going to enable us to look at a table and skip a number of rows, these junk rows, based on a conditions. All right, so now what I suggest you do is you go into the custom column condition that you created. Let's copy this out, yes. And now add a new step here, and we're going to say table skip, yes, and we're going to give it a table, yeah. And now we need to give it a condition, each, and we simply paste that other condition in there. All right, so press enter. You see nothing really happened. Well, that is because it actually looks for the first false. And actually our thing is saying true. So we need to invert this. So what do we need to do is we just need to go in front of there and say not. To basically switch this false to true, 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 true. And then make where the header starts as a false. So now if we do that, there we go. So this basically gave us what we needed. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this out and paste it somewhere. So now take this and duplicate it, because we want to apply that same logic now, because this logic got rid of all of those junk rows. So we need to apply that to all of the other sheets. So we're going to delete all of these steps, go back right back where the binary was. Okay, so now we need to take these three binaries, we need to kind of unfold them together. So add a new step there. We're going to say add step. We're going to say table transform columns. Yes, and we're going to give it the source. And we are going to transform the content column. Yeah. And we're going to apply the formula Excel workbook. It's basically going to take this binary and convert it into an Excel workbook table. There we go. Now that's converted into a table. What we do now is we expand the tables. Yes. And now we get a sneak peek into each file, the contents of each file. So you can basically see there's all the junk rows of file 2 and 1, 2 and 3. So now all we need to do is we need to apply that formula that we wrote before with the table skip. Just apply it to this table over here. All right, so for that, we're going to add a custom column, paste our whole formula in there. Remember, we had that. We'll take that out. I'm just going to say that is actually the data column now contains the table. And that should do the trick, right? So there we go. There we go. So now it actually got rid of all of those junk rows. But now one thing that we need to do is we need to promote those headers as well. So I'm just going to go back to the add custom. Let's quickly just add their table promote headers. I'm going to promote the headers to the first row. So there we go. We promoted the headers. Lovely. And now all we need to do is we need to combine these files together. So we're just going to say add a new step. We say table combine, and the columns that we want to combine is the custom column. So it's in square brackets, you say custom, and they're like magic. You have your combined set, your combined data set that got rid of all your junk columns. Pretty cool, isn't it? So I hope this video helped you get some insight on how you can use some advanced things like say table skip, table transform columns, list contains any, to kind of get rid of your junk rows in your data and combine them. Well, BA Sensei signing out.